Kingston Rovers face the holders Wigan in round 1 of the Cup. It's second in Division 2 against first in Division 1. And no club has a bigger following than Wigan. 2,500 of their fans have come to see their first ever Challenge Cup tie away to Hull Kingston Rovers. And it's their first visit to the new Craven Park. It hasn't been full since the opening match, but today it's a sellout. And there's real hope among the home contingent after Wigan's last visit to Humberside 7 days ago when they came a cropper against Hull's grubber kicks. Paul Eastwood was the first of 4 Hull men to pounce on kicks that caught the Wigan defence flat-footed. Phil Windley wound up Hull's 30-20 win. So, is there a lesson for Hull's neighbours? Hull Kingston Rovers have just the one team change, Zook Emma replacing Colin Armstrong in the front row. Roger Millward feeling that Emma's experience could be valuable for such a big match. And the match programme today has a nice touch. The profile features the Rovers mascot Paul Atkinson, and he lists his biggest disappointment as not being shown on television properly for his grandparents to see. Well, here's a look at John Money's team. David Marshall keeps his place on the wing because of the reshuffle caused by Gregory's injury. Dennis Betts and Ian Gildart returned to the pack after playing for Great Britain under-21s in France last week.
And what an atmosphere we've got here at the new Craven Park. The first Challenge Cup tie here then, Hull KR, and they couldn't have more attractive visitors than Wigan. And Wigan in the blue and white. And David, I wonder why it is that the Challenge Cup somehow always brings out special atmosphere and the best in the players.
Well, it is. Some players say a test against Australia, but the Cup has an aura, and to most the biggest single honour in the game would be to appear at Wembley in a final, and today is the start of that trail.
And there was a real roar went up there as fullback Lightfoot took the possession for Rovers. The Robins, and will they be bobbing along, I wonder. David Bishop is here. Well, John Money admitted that the Wigan reshuffle has caused a bit of a problem in midweek, losing Andy Gregory at that late stage, having worked during the week expecting him to be in the side. And I imagine we can expect the tackles to be pretty stiff to begin with.
Well, it will, because both sides will want to impress in this game, and defences are most important in the game of rugby league.
Here's Bishop, and we've been hearing about the kicking game and how important it could be, and that's a confidence booster for the Welshman.
Well, that's a good start for David and a good start for Hull Kingston Rovers.
Good start indeed, but it's Sean Edwards to put that ball in for Wigan, and it's out for them too. Hanley, our first sighting of the great man. Our first sighting of him this season on scrum down, of course, but great to see him back in the thick of things. After that injury now, good way, opened some space up over there. Edwards' turn to kick. Not altogether convincing that by Lightfoot, but amazing that Wigan have never been here before in a Challenge Cup tie, bearing in mind the pedigree of these two sides. Zook Emma, he's been brought back in for his experience. Niebling, the big Aussie, having his first taste of the Challenge Cup in Britain. And like every other Australian, he'll want to get to Wembley. Mike Smith, that was an imperative tackle. Good one too by Dennis Betts. Well, here again, the kick is excellent. I've been listening to Roger Millward and taking note.
Well, it's the sort of thing, to have a game plan, as Roger no doubt will have, you've got to put the Wigan under pressure all the time.
And Greg Austin has done just that. He really is in a very good seam at the moment, Greg Austin. 12 tries in his last 6 games. Wigan's ball, but Bishop has his man. Hey, over you go. One way or the other. So many illustrious names in this Wigan side. I was just thinking there as Ira moved the ball out and he'd got Hanley and Goodway and Edwards alongside him. Those are the great names in the game today. Lightfoot certainly stayed back a long way and had plenty of space in which to manoeuvre. Hanley with the tackle. I don't think there's any doubt, though, David, that Wigan have got defence off to a fine art. I know they conceded a lot of points last week at Hull, but generally they're the outstanding defensive side in the league.
Yes, they are, and most importantly, you've got to keep going at them all the time. You can't ease up at all. They absorb a lot of pressure, and they always come back forcibly themselves.
Now you can see how the wind caught that ball and it swirled, and Bishop follows through and makes his tackle, and I think he's got the bit between his teeth. We saw him looking very relaxed in the dressing room beforehand, and now's the time for him to come good. Well, the ball lost, and this is where Holkar might apply a bit of pressure. And Emma has taken Holkar to within 25 yards. And the supporters gathered beneath me on our gantry here are making one heck of a din, I can tell you. It's a marvellous atmosphere. One of the biggest match Hulkingston Rovers have been in, of course, in this new stadium of theirs. So we can expect a kick on the last tackle, and it's going to be left to David Bishop. And I think that might be a bit... Oh, it might be awkward still. Anthony Sullivan was coming up, but Marshall took it nicely. Turned out to be a very good kick, actually, from Bishop, that. Held up.
Yes, he judged the wind well then, and of course, quick following up allowed them to put Wigan under pressure.
Well, Hulkingston Rovers are applying that pressure that Roger Millwood wanted them to. And we're going to have a few muddy marbles out here today. Kevin Ira is sitting down there. Bit of a bang. Keith Mills, the Wigan physiotherapist, just applying the treatment. I think he's some mud in the eye, but he's a little bit groggy too. Picks himself up very slowly and gingerly. Out for Rovers. Bishop tried to get through the gap there, and Hanley had him round the neck. Great tackler, of course, Hanley, but these are good moments for Rovers and for Paul Lyman, thrusting towards that Wigan line. Niebling it, Smith, and they were coming up like vultures on the right, ready to pick up the bones of Wigan. Chances now, Smith, who he turned back right instead of letting it go. So that's the last one. It could be a drop goal though, and Bishop, well, he tried the kick through, and Wigan will collect the ball. I thought he might have had a drop goal there just to get them onto the scoreboard. Well,
yes, it was an ideal opportunity for him then. Of course, 1 point would have paid dividends for all the pressure they put on the Wigan defence.
Perhaps not an easy day for dropping goals though. It's a very heavy pitch.
Well, that's right, and he's obviously seen the video last week. He tried to put the grubber kick through there to take advantage of it. Wigan were alert to that situation and blocked it quite easily.
Yes, I've no doubt Wigan have studied that video as well of the whole match from last week. And now Lydon. And this kick is straight to Lightfoot. Sullivan has to come back right. Tries to break through and just caught by the ankle by Ian Lucas. It's been a spirited start by the second division side. And of course, if they could secure a win over Wigan, they'd really feel as though they were on the way back, and Smith timed the ball well. Pottinger took a bit of a bang then. Again, Bishop just eluded Hanley's grasp. It's more Zucchema. Well, Zucchema has had a very good start to the game, and that's going to be the handover. But Emma was brought in for his experience, and I think he's shown the value of that.
Well, he knows what it is to play in this type of game, and he most certainly is making the Wigan defence defend very tightly.
Lyman for Rovers. Gap over on that right-hand side, but Fletcher is running really well. Well, Wigan are certainly under some pressure at the moment. Hooker Rudd 15 yards out, in line with the sticks. A swift passing movement could have that Wigan defence in disarray. They do regather quickly. And it would do the Rovers' spirit so much good if they could get the first try, but unfortunately for them, the ball has gone adrift. Andy Platt propping, of course, in this match. Now Ian Gildart, another of the under-21 side in France last week. Dermot to Edwards. Good way. And really, Wigan have hardly been in the Hull Kingston Rovers half as yet.
Well, in fairness, they haven't had much of the ball, and in fact, Hull KR has taken the game to them. They've put a lot of pressure on them, and they've used their ball sensibly.
Now, Lydon's kick is cross-field and will be fielded by Gary Clark. They had to hang back, otherwise they'd have been offside. Well, Wigan's record in recent years, of course, at Wembley has been marvellous, and looking for a hat-trick this season. And they share with Leeds the record of 10 Challenge Cup successes. Rovers are willing to move the ball, but Bishop just couldn't hold on to it there, where it would have been in a good position. But Fletcher has had 2 good runs now in this match, 2 encouraging runs. Well, it's been proved that you can get tries against Wigan. And that's a good ball, slipped by Smith to Lyman, and Lyman 25 yards out. It's a handover. And back it comes with Wigan. That was a fair tackle, a double tackle. A good way. Platt. Now Hanley tries to burst through the gap and gets the pass away. Few fans behind me thought it was forward, but it wasn't. It will be a scrum though. Just how much are Wigan going to miss Andy Gregory today, David?
Well, they will obviously miss him, but with class players like both Edwards and Ellery Hanley at half-back, it won't be too bad a miss. But it's incredible, actually. Every time Ellery Hanley runs with the ball, everybody now wants to hit him upstairs. His top body strength is too much for them. If they went downstairs, like Hull did last week, he'd be far less effective a player than he is.
Smith He's still sprightly, is Mike Smith, despite the fact he's played 450 games for the club. Thompson. Andy Thompson, one of the young crop here at Craven Park that Roger Millwood will be looking to in coming seasons when hopefully Rovers are back in the top flight. They stand a very good chance, of course, of winning promotion this season. Bishop flings out the long one, and Sullivan, I'm sure he took his eye off the ball. That one his dad Clive would have been proud of, that.
But they are trying to make them work for everything they have, and by moving the ball out wide as well, it does help considerably, because when you pull it away from the defence after taking the defence in, as they are with Zouk Emma, it makes the gaps appear on the outside.
From the scrum, Edwards to Hanley, and across the line again. The tackle is a good one on Gildart. So Dean Bell gets involved for the first time. Now Iro. Iro is strong and gets past Sullivan. Can't come inside Smith's tackle though. And Sullivan got back to help out with Neebling. Still Wigan finding it difficult to make inroads. Edwards and Hanley in harness again. And they're looking to the likes of Platt and Goodway to make ground. And now they look to Lydon's boot. That looks a good kick from Joe Lydon. Good educated footballer, Joe Lydon. Played most of his rugby, of course, in the centre or even on the wing. But the man who was the world record holder for transfer deals at one stage is now in the full-back scrum. In the absence, of course, of Steve Hampson, still suspended.
But he is such a good all-round footballer, is Joe, and he can play in a lot of positions, very versatile, as most of these Wigan players are. That's what makes them a great side.
Here's Emma. The fireman. Rudd flings the ball back inside. Unfortunately, it went to Mike Smith eventually. Nobody else had spotted what Rudd was doing there, I don't think. That time, more orthodox to his right and to Bishop. Could be a bit of a glue pot in the middle eventually, to keep even the fleetest of foot down. And Mark Preston is quick. And he's elusive, but eventually they hold him down. Already Zouk Emma's number has been obliterated on his back. And the ball has got away in the tackle. And this is where they might just stretch Rovers if Hanley. And Hanley can always cause problems. And he did really well, and he's still going his Hanley there. And he just has that eye somehow for the opening. And he gets in there. And Edwards is with the possession for Wigan. Into the gap, and Dermott spreads it. And Betts now. And Betts is 15 yards out, but loses the ball. And that was crucial, especially as Hulkayar have it over on that right side. And Gary Clark slips as he comes in field. That's the closest Wigan have been.
It certainly is. It just goes to show you've got to have a concentration and a discipline, and Hulkayar must keep that all throughout the game, because you just can't allow this Wigan side any chances at all.
Good advantage played by referee Tennant there. Thompson gets Rovers outside their own 25 now, and Rudd will take it another 5 yards. Oh, it's a lovely little shimmy by Bishop. But unfortunately for him, his kick has gone absolutely into Lydon's hands. He didn't have to move for that one. I think it's just the sort of start we expected to a cup tie.
Well, it is. There's very little in it at the moment, but as I say, what Hulkayar are going to do, their game plan obviously is to get in, rattle them, run the ball at them as often as they possibly can. But Wigan are always dangerous on the counter-attack, as they showed in the last few minutes.
great roar goes up every time Wigan lose the ball, as you'd expect. So, Rovers, the second division side, bring the ball towards the halfway line once more. Bishop wriggles out of the tackle of Hanley. Here's Smith. I think he thought about kicking and then thought otherwise. Baltica, Rudd, now Bishop again will kick, and again he'll angle the kick towards touch, and Marshall knocks it back. Had to fall on it in the end. But now Iro seeks to get through a gap. He always takes some stopping. Edwards. Flat runs with tremendous purpose. Not a convincing play the ball, but Wigan on the last tackle this time. We'll be looking, I imagine, to Joe Lydon to kick the ball downfield. No, instead it's Edwards this time. Not surprisingly, both sides have been kicking quite a lot. With all the talk there has been during the week about the value of the kicking game. But midway through the half, no points, and it's difficult to assess just who's going to come out on top.
Well, it's going to be a very tough physical game, this. There's no doubt at all about it, because conditions are not good underfoot. It's going to take a lot out of players, and sensibly now to kick for position is sometimes the best thing to do, as both sides have done after they've used effectively their 5 play-the balls.
Bishop will kick. And hoists it high. Difficult one for Lydon. Oh, very difficult one for Lydon. Oh, and if he'd been able to kick ahead instead, Sullivan couldn't pick it. Rovers have the ball, but in fact the referee has indicated a knock on, and there's a little bit of a scuffle going on there. Joe Lydon picks himself up, and he must be saying, where did that one go?
Well, it is difficult with the ball in the air in this wind as well. It would always be difficult he misjudged it completely, a result of which caused a lot of...
Let's watch Betts go, and he's got support on both sides. He must surely give it inside. Bell to Hanley, and the tackle there just had to be made, and it was made. If Betts had turned to his right and given the ball to Hanley earlier, he was a certain scorer.
Absolutely, but we said you just can't allow them any time at all. Let's take a look at this now. Just after that incident, they moved it out straight away. They've caught the Hull defence napping, and now it's just a matter of lining up people. Hull defence have left ragged here. Look, just watch it. Now, instead of passing, he should have given it straight away then, because to have done that would have allowed Ellery to have a little more of the ball. As a result, he's taken the ball and man and the tackle.
And it was Bishop who made the tackle, and the crowd didn't half cheer him. But the penalty was awarded, and Wigan have the chance here of the first points of the match through the boot of Joe Lydon. Straightforward kick for Lydon. So are we about to witness the first points of the afternoon? No, we're not. Quite a miss, and that's an escape for Rovers in more ways than one.
Well, it is, but I mean, it just shows how difficult to judge this wind is. He's normally one of the most reliable kickers in the game. That kick was nowhere near going over or between those posts.
Andy Goodway will bring Wigan on the assault again. I think one thing that ought to be said there was how well David Bishop did to get back to make the tackle, and he really does look a different player this season.
He does, most certainly, but he just goes to show in all that indifference there that was at the bottom of the field. As soon as Wigan saw that opportunity, they took it, but in fairness to Hull KR, they turned and chased everything, and that crucial tackle on Ellery Hanley meant they didn't have a score.
Absolutely right, David. Edwards There's a bit of purpose about Wigan now, though. As you said earlier, they haven't had much of the ball, but what they have had, they've looked dangerous with. It's on the left tackle is this, but Edwards kicks through, and there was no foul. Bit of a dive, said referee Tennant that. I know John Boney hasn't been at all happy with the Wigan's form in recent weeks. He's been a bit rueful about it, in fact. But the pitch today is obviously going to play a big part. Do you think there are signs that Wigan are perhaps not quite as much on song as they were a few weeks ago?
I wouldn't think that. I think they had that loss. They're the sort of side that can turn it against themselves, and they certainly are so full of big names in the side and so capable of playing such great football. It's very difficult to say when they're off or on.
They're looking to be on right now as Clapp takes it to 15 yards out. Really important for the Hull Kingston Rovers defence to answer all the questions being asked of them now by Wigan. And Hanley made a sort of a decoy run there, and in fact that's what I thought. Referee Tennant saw that the way I did and awarded the penalty to Rovers. There's no doubt about it. They must have been taking their eye off where play was, keeping it on Hanley.
That's right, he's such a central figure in the Wigan side that you just can't afford to leave him out of your sight, and more often than not, even if you use him as a decoy, you can still get the ball away to others in better positions.
So we've got no points. 0-0 here at Craven Park. But a lot of interest in the game, a lot of excitement. Two-Eagle Cup tie, and Hull KR throwing the ball around. There's Greg Austin. Niebling keeps working, gives it to Emma, his fellow prop. Dermott came in there to keep his man down. Crowd oohed. Well, we've had a number of handovers today. Much more than the average. These two sides actually managed to play out a draw last season in the John Player Trophy, as it used to be, before Wigan won the replay, and I reckon it's going to be pretty close again today.
I think it is, really, because both sides are having difficulty in judging the wind, and they know full well they have to use the six play the balls all the time. That's going to take a lot out of people, and one can expect that one side or other is going to get tired, and it's the tired side, really, at the end of the day, that makes the mistake to allow the opposition to score points.
Save the TK is the player who is just sitting up. Not often we see two players in such close proximity having to receive corresponding treatment, but the crowd so far have enjoyed what they've seen, and I'm sure they're delighted that Wigan haven't got on the scoreboard.
Well, absolutely, and I think both sides will be well pleased at the moment, but it just goes to show, though, that you can keep Wigan down, tie them up as much as you can, but they always seem to be dangerous at all times, and that's what Hull KR are going to be very wary of, that instant breakaway.
Once more, thought about the pass to the left, and he still manages to retain possession. The ball is forward there, we'll have a scrum. We haven't really had many scrums today, we had a lot last week at Headingley, but today it's been fairly low. There we are, three-apiece. Somebody's going to nose in front, and that somebody will be Rovers. Penalties awarded for offside against Leiden. Come charging up from the full-back position, rather too enthusiastically. Well, on some days you might be thinking of kicking goals from here, but not today.
No, I fear not. I think this is the time to put it into touch and then set up a nice piece of set play and take it from there.
Mike Fletcher's boot puts the ball out. Mike Fletcher, the first man to a century of goals this season. Not quite in record time. He didn't quite beat David Watkins' record. Sure you remember that well, David. Coming up here, Lightfoot, on the former Whitehaven fullback. Bishop, oh, good running from David Bishop. He's got time to think about it. The great players always have time. Rudd, Emma's here, and oh, the ball was put down 5 yards short of the line, and that's the closest Rovers have been.
Well, that was their best opportunity yet, and that again is just sensible passing of the ball. The man always there, trying to force a gap into this Wigan defence.
Fans are chanting, "Can you hear us on the box?" I think we can hear every one of them. Yeah, Mike making a lot of noise here today. And that one's going to stick right in the glue. Well, he knew what was waiting. He knew what was coming. But there was no way he could avoid it. 10 minutes to half-time, no points still. Not often we have to wait long for a point, but it's been a smashing game all the same. And Rovers are certainly giving as good as they're getting.
They certainly are, and you know, we say we haven't seen fast-flowing football by any stretch of imagination, but this is what a good cup tie is all about. Taking your chances when they come your way and playing it as hard as possibly you can.
Again, we're on the last tackle. We're getting through the 6 tackles rather quickly. And again, Bishop kicks. And that's a fumble. That's a double fumble. Well, that was unfortunate for Mark Preston. It's not really a winger's day.
It wasn't a terribly good kick ahead, really, but he made it more difficult for himself by chasing it back infield. A double knock-on has now given Hull KR the chance they really want, perhaps.
They certainly have a chance as Bishop there tries to work it, goes himself. They're all here. If they sprint it out to the left, it must be a good chance. Smith plays the short one. As the sun comes down here at Craven Park. Rovers and Niebling in particular, marauding towards the Wigan line. Can they get over it? That's the big question. The timing of the pass is always crucial. And there's a whistle, and it's going to be a penalty. No, it's a penalty for Hull KR, and it's right in front of the sticks. So an offence there at the play of the ball.
I think it was interference there. The referee said interference at the play of the ball there. A Wigan player interfering with the man playing it, a result of which he's now given the penalty to Hull KR, their first opportunity to open the score.
Indeed, and Mike Fletcher, with 105 goals to his credit, has an important kick. They're going to roar. They are. Up go the flags, up goes the first points of the afternoon to Rovers. Fletcher's goal nudges Rovers 2 points ahead. Let's see what the reaction is down on the touchline. Nick?
Jed Burton, you must be very pleased with the way it's gone so far. Yeah, pleased up to now. Yeah, we've had a good 30 minutes, and that 2 points has done us a world of good. We control the football well, but this is the danger time, isn't it? 10 minutes before half-time.
And so far, they don't look overawed at all, do they?
They weren't overawed from the start. You know, we've matched them, I think, with the ball and without the ball. And if things go like this, hopefully we should get the result we've pleased so far.
Okay, done, thank you.
Edwards. Oh, that was a loop ball out for Preston. Looks might have been forward to me, but Preston throws it straight back into some whole hands, and they were only too welcoming. This is Wiggins. Now Hanley. They're looking to prize them open as Leighton feeds the ball inside. Was there a knock on there? Referee says not. Looks as though Jed Byrne might replace Kevin Iro, who's not quite been himself since he took that early knock. And it's a humdinger of a cup tie, and everybody needs to be 100% out there. Only 5 minutes then. Just a bit of injury time to the break as Leiden chips it forward, confidently taken. Well, Roger Millward is remoulding his side here around people like Lightfoot. And I imagine as a coach he must be quite thrilled with the way his side has coped so far.
Well, they're playing it the way Roger Allwood played it, with plenty of heart and not lacking in any skill at all. And they most certainly have made their First Division opponents sit up this afternoon in this first 35 minutes.
And when the Reds go marching in is the call, and with Wigan wearing blue today, we'll not need me to tell you which side that refers to. Quite interesting, I think the news from the touchline is that Wigan are going to make a double substitution. Both Gildart and Iro are to be replaced. Looks more promising. Shouts are forward, but not given. Last one really important, I think, for Hulkington Rovers not to concede a try before the break.
Absolutely, this is where all the concentration and all the discipline in the world comes into effect.
Oh, I thought Lightfoot was going to misjudge it, and he did do. It's going to be a try for Marshall. It's a try. And a catastrophic mistake for Lightfoot, the fullback. Marshall was there to take the advantage. He's got his 7th try, and what an important one too. When we were just saying how imperative it was for Rovers not to give in. But I never felt comfortable when I saw Lightfoot come to.
Let's just take a look at that. I mean, the first opportunity, they've kicked ahead. Lightfoot makes that crucial mistake, allows Marshall to kick on ahead. There's no doubt at all about it. He got a hand to it.
And Hanley's tackle was crucial in that as well. I think Lightfoot had his eye on Hanley as much as he did on the ball. There are the two men who want to get into the thick of it just before the break, but the kick is about to happen. And there go the points from Leighton's boot to add to Marshall's goal. And 6 points for Wigan, 2 for Hull KR. That's the scoreline, and it's such a different one. 2-0 would have been so comforting for Roger Millward in his half-time team talk.
Well, Well, we have said that mistakes are costly in a cup tie. They're costly in any game, of course. In this, they are crucial, and he's made that one mistake. As you said, a beautiful tackle by Hanley, coming in on him very quickly, allowed Marshall to get away and score the points.
Played in a good spirit as this, because on this sort of a pitch it's the time when tempers can become a bit frayed, and funny if I suggest the same that tempers did just become a little bit frayed at that moment.
And for the wrong reason then, because I mean the man who was at fault then was Andy Goodway, and he can't afford to. He had the ball in his hand. It's important for him at least to keep a cool head and let all the others worry about it round him.
Yes, a former Great Britain captain ought to know better. Now, just as it was important for Rovers not to concede a try, and they did do, it's important for Wigan now, having got their noses in front, not to give one away themselves. But here are Rovers with just 30 seconds to the break. And there'll be a bit more injury time to add on now. He didn't dare to let go of the ball. He would have got a rollicking. Well, the hold-up gives us another chance to look at the try.
Well, they say you can't afford to make mistakes against a Wigan side in full flight, and this is a superb up and under. Now just look at this. Hanley is going straight for it. Full-back takes his eye off it for 1 second. Great tackle, pushes the ball ahead, beats the defence to the touchdown.
Emma for Rovers. Rudd. Ball back inside, taken on by Niebling. It's got the Rovers fans chanting again. They do badly want to try before the break to talk about. The conversation will be so much better for them, wouldn't it? Flatten there, having played the ball through, and that is going to be a penalty for Rovers. So at least if Fletcher puts this one over, 6-4 will look so much better.
Well, that's right. He's got to make it. He's got to make it. This is a decision he has to make. There's only a few seconds before the half-time. I would say go for goal in these circumstances. 2 points safely on the board.
If there is a criticism of Wigan, it is that they do give away 1 or 2 needless penalties.
Well, that's right. There's no need for it. They are such a disciplined team in most circumstances. Making simple mistakes like that can prove costly.
Fletcher. Only 2 points in it now. Good time to kick a goal. 4-6.
That's an interesting tactic, actually. As soon as they've scored, they rush up. Edwards puts it down. Lydon kicks it as far as he can, hoping it'll go dead, which means it would be a drop out under the post. It didn't work the second time, which shows that Hull KR are alert to it.
And also, I'm sure it was in their minds, like, if it's just put one kick down, he might just fumble again.
Exactly.
That's the hooter. That's half-time. A very good half here at Craven Park. And I wonder if a cut shot is on the cards. You never know. Only the one try scored by David Marshall of Wigan 5 minutes before the break. But Rovers, with a couple of goals from Mike Fletcher, are still very much in the hunt here. There we have it then in facts and figures. Hull KR 4, Wigan 6. Don't go away. Kingston Rovers 4, Wigan 6. And nobody better to ask him for an assessment of the first half than the normal Wigan and Great Britain scrum half, Andy Gregory, out through injury at the moment, but down on the touchline with Nick.
Sure, Wigan are too professional to underestimate Hull Kingston Rovers. If they had done that, you know better now.
Oh yeah, that's certainly true. You know, we've treated them with the utmost respect this week in training and everywhere. But you know, they've certainly given us a game. We're going to have to. They've got the win in this second half, so we're going to have to tackle really well in this second half.
Fair to say, really, certainly for the first quarter, Hull came out with a better side, weren't they?
Yeah, they was. You know, I think they're in a false position in the second division, the first division side, and you know, playing on their own ground in front of their own spectators. You know, they came in. We knew they was going to have a go, and you know, they've not disappointed us. But you know, I thought it was a good try from David Marshall, and hopefully, you know, we can keep it going and keep our nose in front and get in the act for tomorrow.
Andy, thanks very much indeed, and get well soon. Thanks very much indeed. John?
Yes, I'm glad Andy told us which way the wind was blowing. It's difficult for us to assess up here, but he's saying that it's with Hull Kingston Rovers, it's in their favour this half. And they do know they've got a job on their hands, the Wigan. The statistics of the first half, as Mark Preston tries to get Wigan ticking again, were that the scrums just went Rovers' way, not much in that. None against the head by either hooker. And the penalties conceded, and that's a great tribute to Rovers that they've conceded only one in 40 minutes. But the errors in play, Wigan have made more, 3 more. Andy Gregory will be off down to London tomorrow. He's going to be out for 2 weeks, at least. And he's got a groin problem, which he's been playing with for some time. Obviously very influential, but he's missing important games like this one and the Widnes match, which Wigan have got coming up. No player likes being out of the action. Well, they've had a great record over the years of Rovers. They and Widnes have been highly successful. And they've got a penalty, they've been successful in that too. Wigan, of course, haven't lost a cup tie since Oldham beat them, having won it the last 2 years, so that's going back some time. And listen at the roar now. Can they get over that Wigan try line? A lot of sides have tried and a lot of sides have failed this season.
Well, this is the most important part from the start of the second half, because if they could nose in front now, with the wind as well and Bishop kicking a lot, they could pin Wigan back in their own half.
That's a longer one. They've got to vary it a little bit. That kick through is useful. And Marshall, who's already done his job over that try line once, does his job in a different guise a second time. Well, let's see what sort of distance Edwards can achieve. Oh, dearie me, hardly any at all. But on the other hand, Wigan were coming up chasing it.
Well, failure to have got that 10 yards would have meant a penalty in front of the post then.
And 2 more certain points. Rudd. Well, this is where Wigan's tackling is daunting. They really do stop everything that comes at them. They try to do anyway. They've got to stop Emma now. Smith. On the last one. Well, it could be a drop goal, I suppose. And it is. And it's not there. It's not there. Well, it was the right ploy by Mike Smith. Any points are going to be vital today. Hanley, the first man up there. Seems to have recovered totally from that injuries he came back from Australia with, though. Now Lucas, the big prop forward who's very highly rated at Central Park. And the other thing you've got to say about Wigan, David, is that they're not just all big-name stars who've been signed. They have groomed the likes of Dennis Betts, Ian Lucas, Ian Gilgart, David Marshall.
That's right, and they've been not particularly sort of unusual in getting rid of big names like Nicky Kiss is not playing, and of course they've got rid of 2 players, Brian Case and to Lee as well.
Recently. That's lobbed out over to Marshall on that far side. Marshall caught by the ankle and taken into touch. But there's no doubt about David Bishop being influential in this game, and I think you've got news about him.
Yes, indeed, John. David Bishop with the ball now. You can't just see there, but he's got some strapping on his left knee, which Hulkington Rovers are quite worried about. There it is. They've strapped him up at half-time. It was the knock he took just before half-time. They're going to keep him on the field, but clearly the outcome of the game could rest on how that knee stands up.
Well, we got a close-up of it now. And here are Rovers. Oh, and the ball is put down, and this could be dangerous as Edwards moves Wigan forward to, well, about 35 yards out. Possession 9/10 of the law in this game. And today it's important as ever to really keep hold of that ball, especially... Oh, talking of that, it's gone to Rovers, and here they come. There's Greg Austin. Oh dear. Well, it must be getting more slippery with every minute.
But I think it still is important there, you know, not to be too sort of entertaining. They really needed a short ball. They needed to play their 6 balls out. They needed to be in a position to kick it and get them back downfield, Wigan.
Rovers, of course, have only ever won the Challenge Cup once, when they beat, of all people, Hull FC at Wembley, 1980. There's no reason why they shouldn't go all the way again, even though they're a second division side at the moment. They've got some good players. And anything can happen in cup ties, as Dewsbury proved against St Helens only the other week, and as Halifax have shown this season. We'll get another look at David Bishop here as he feeds that scrum over on the far side, and then comes round. There he is. Well, the tackle was high, but it was on the chest, and the referee was right. Jed Burns' tackle there was nothing wrong with that. The crowd loved to Hoover. It was round the shoulder.
It certainly was. There was nothing wrong with that at all. The referee was near to the spots, and he quite rightly allowed play to go on.
No doubt about it. Well, that kick went over the white line. Well, I've yet to be in a crowd that agreed with every decision. Referees just cannot win, and 1-1 against the head. Bishop was quickly onto it. He snapped it up. Well, this new stadium at Craven Park certainly does reverberate when the crowd have got their vocal tones going as they've got them today. Chris Rudd, short ball, Emma. Certainly not a day for flinging the ball around. This time Bishop elects for the chip and Preston has to come over. Well, they mark Preston, that's a fine tackle on him. It was Fletcher who made it, and now Hanley. Ellery Hanley, who's hat-trick, of course, in the Regal Trophy final recently, helped winning the Man of the Match award. Rose had got the ball, and the referee decided it was a scrum. They had an Ellery, a shake of the head, a little smile, and says, I think he's saying, what's going on here?
I think he felt he was robbed in the tackle then, but the referee was there as well and said he wasn't the case.
Fletcher tries to fend off two men. It's not an easy day for running, that's for sure. It's a day for people like Emma and Niebling and the Rovers side. And there's Paul Lyman. And here is Niebling, relishing the challenge. Smith. And Wigan over there quickly. Ellery Hanley had gone ahead. And there's some spirited stuff going on out there. And a astute little kick. That ball is put into touch by Anthony Sullivan.
Interesting to see then when David Bishop made that long slanting run, he was using really Ellery as a decoy because Ellery turned his back on him and he tried to sneak in on his shot on his blind side.
So it was a battle of wits, that one. Out it comes for Wigan. Edwards has Hanley alongside him. And Hanley's power will always take him through a gap, and Hanley keeps going as well, and he's gone 25-30 yards, and that's an achievement on a day like this.
He's such a strong guy, and as I say, people tend to always go upstairs on Ellery, always wanting to make that classical tackle to hurt him as well at the same time. It doesn't work, you've got to go low, otherwise he can just push everybody off.
Talking of classical tackles, that wasn't a bad one. Rammed him back a few yards. Edwards. Sean Edwards, who recently topped the 100-try mark. And Wigan have a few of those. People like Hanley and Byrne in the side as well, and Lydell. Last tackle, and Edwards surely will kick. He will. They won't find a touch, and it'll be down to Sullivan to instigate something. Just as in the first half, OKR seem to have had the majority of possession in the early phases of the half. Oh, and Bishop's kick charged down. Well, we saw last week how Andy Gregory charged down a kick by Steve McNamara of Hull and went straight through to score. And if you're up there quick enough, there's always the possibility.
That's right, and that's put Hull KR under pressure. You always sense now that Wigan are starting to raise themselves a little bit like they normally can do. So it's important now that Hull KR keep pressure on them and get down their half of the field rather than playing in their own half.
Yes, Wigan are playing a little spurt, aren't they? But there are Rovers again. That man Bishop. He had the ball in his hands longer than anybody in this match. They were up quickly then, all right. I thought there might have been the odd shout of get him on side, which you hear from time to time in rugby league.
The thing is that Zukema was running onto the ball on speed in the first half and creating a lot of problems. The second half, they closed him down very quickly. He's not having those same opportunities.
Bishop will kick with the left foot. Swirling, awkward, and Preston dashes back. Oh, it could beat him. Well, those are a nightmare for wingers. The ball is always going away from you.
Well, this wind is difficult, and I think they've got to use it a little more. They don't need to have to stay in their own 25 and a half. They are getting enough of the ball, our Kingston Rovers. They really have to contain Wigan in their own 25, and by doing that, you must kick the ball downfield, use the wind, use the swirling wind to get it either into touch or put pressure on players in defence.
Let's just remind you of the scoreline. It's still Hull Kingston Rovers 4, Wigan 6. The scrums 10-6 to Hull Kingston Rovers. So the game is still well on here. Just those 2 points in it. Oh, and Hanley again shows all his power and experience. Gets to halfway. Good way. Taken round the neck, round the ankles, round the waist, round the thigh, round just about everything. The tackling is ferocious. So much so that Andy Goodway still hasn't picked himself up. And the Hulkingston Rovers man Niebling is just picking himself up. Dermot got the one back inside. It's Rovers' ball again. And when that ball goes to ground, there's always someone, it's Chris Rudd on that occasion, ready to dive on it. Bishop turning to his left, skipping away. Hanley's on him. Well, they certainly know they've been in a battle with these 26 players out here. He was caught round the throat, having lost the ball, and Mike Smith is out of the game. Back in it now. It's Niebling, in fact, almost unrecognisable. The shake of the head told me. I think Hulkingston Rovers are wanting to take off Andy Thompson to bring on Colin Armstrong, who will stand out in his pristine white shirt.
He certainly will. I was just saying, when you're looking for players' work rate, it's interesting to see people like Andy Platt, who is continually tackling and running. He's always there in support as well. What a marvellous performance he's had this afternoon in the front row of that scrum.
Yes, he has. Well, it's definitely a day for 15 players. And there is the bright and shining substitute. Apparently it was going to be Botica at one stage, and then the decision was made to take Andy Thompson instead. And here is Armstrong. A great shout goes up as the former Carlisle man comes into the thick of things. Huge lad he is. Well, you get the feeling one break could just be enough on a day like this. At the moment, Wigan have had the only break. To work for that. Platt again. Great forager. Keith Mills, who's just trotting off over that far side, had just had a quick word with Dennis Betts to make sure he's all right. As Edwards tries to gallop into a bit of space, there's not much out there. Hanley! Oh, that's not vintage Ellery. And psychologically, I think he just takes a little bit of mud away from the boot.
Not the best of kicks, but I don't think it'll affect Ellery. He still will do whatever he wants to do, and does it usually very well.
Smith to Lightfoot. Halfway. Now Smith's kick is over the top, and the chasing Gary Clark goes after it, and a kick ahead, a real opportunity here. Can Preston get there ahead of Clark? Preston's speed won the day for Wigan then.
Well, a change in their tactic, a kick over the top. We've seen Mark Preston caught in a number of situations time and time. Just watch this. It's just a chip over the top, you see. Now, Mark Preston has been caught out once or twice with the ball on the floor. He certainly was left behind there, but Jed Burns slipped as well. It's a kick and a chase, but Preston, being a good wing as he is, was back there anyway.
Yes, he's one of the quickest wingers in the game. And he needed every inch of his speed as well to get back, but unfortunately for Hulkingston Rovers, they couldn't take the chance. Those kick-outs are really posing problems for Wigan.
Well, it proves how strong that sun is, because they're hardly getting it to 10 yards, and that's crucial to get it over those 10 yards, and they're on the floor, and Hull KR made the cardinal mistake and are knocking on when they should have really been in an attacking position.
Dean Bell, haven't seen much of him today, but there he is, the New Zealander. Jed Byrne A few more vital feet away. Black once more. He has been a glutton for work. Edwards jinking to his right. Not usually a word you can use too often on a muddy day like this, isn't jinking. Oh, and the ball's coming all the way back to him. And again, Holkeg's rose, pick it up, and David Bishop was more alert than anybody else then. And alertness is what they need, speed of thought as well as body. Needed here by Rovers if they are to cause what would undoubtedly be the shock of the day, shock of the round. Halfway through the second half, the crowd roaring, hoping for a Rovers try. Smith, can he provide Armstrong with an opening? Last tackle again, they seem to be getting through these tackles so quickly. The kick is through, and Gang Clark chases with Preston, and again Preston's the first man to it.
Well, they're really making Mark Preston pay for one of those two mistakes he made in the first half. They're putting everything to him, they put him under a lot of pressure. That won't help him at all, although he has been up to the mark on the last two occasions.
So let's see how far Jedburn can get this one out. The two previous kicks didn't get more than 10 yards. Right into the teeth of the wind. That's gone a bit further. But it's gone straight into the hands of Bishop. We're going to have a storming finish here, I think. And it's Rovers hammering away. They're like a juggernaut coming down that line, towards the Wigan line. Is there a try on for Rovers? No, a short pass again. It was easily spotted. Betts was in the tackling. Still they're looking for Armstrong. Came roaring onto that.
That's when they're most effective, when they come onto it on the burst.
Bishop's kick through, was he impeded? No, he wasn't. But again, well, it's almost like an action replay.
Well, I don't think Wigan defence has been under as much pressure as this for many a game. And look, they're trying just about everything they have to do now. They push this one through again. The defence knows, with his back to them, Jet knows he can't do anything but kick it dead. Be safe.
Well, I'm pretty sure they heeded the words of Roger Millward in talking about applying pressure. And Wigan are making another substitution and bringing back Ian Gildart. Bishop. Seems to go to Bishop, his hands are magnetising the ball. Well, they really are stretching them at the moment. You've really got to pay compliment to Wigan. Their defensive technique is absolutely tremendous. Their commitment exceptional too. Now Smith, that's a good pass, but again the tackle is there. Good way it was. And this time Wigan have it. Well, he had to try the kick, he had to try something a little bit different. It's relentless.
Well, it's difficult to know what Wigan most certainly have to play their six, play the balls. They can't kick it, they've got to run them all out. They've got to get up far upfield as they possibly can. Hull KR should realise this. They should try and close them down now as often as they can, knowing how difficult it is to kick against this wind.
Yes, Andy Gregory got it right at half-time when he said Wigan knew exactly what they'd got on their hands in the second half, coming into the teeth of the wind.
Well, they've certainly played amongst themselves. They now know that what it's like. They want to be back in that first division. They know that the only platform they can use is a game of this calibre, and they're trying really hard to do it.
That was tigerish from Hanley again, and he's done so well to bring Wigan up to this point. But there's Lydon's kick, and Lightfoot has to go back some way to pick it up. You might think of a kick, yes, I thought he would. He's going to go back for Lydon. Exemplary fielding of the ball. Wigan have hardly been in the Hulkington Rovers half.
They haven't, and that was a good tactic, because that's all that done is put them back down there as well. They would have been really struggling up here to have got back in that position.
And I think Botica will be coming off any minute now. He's had 5 minutes more than he expected. Jimmy Irvine will be the second substitute used by Hull KR, the former Hunslet player who was signed last season for £25,000. Hanley again. They really do look to Hanley for inspiration. This is the last tackle. Leiden's kick. Straight forward, straight down the field. Lightfoot brings it to Sullivan. So still Irvine can't come on. Got to wait for a stoppage. There haven't been many of those. That's a terrific kick downfield, but it's again taken like a fielder on the boundary by Leiden. Fine tackle. Crowd like that. Fletcher and Leiden get involved. Touch judges on. Well, there's no doubt there was just that little bit of needle between Mike Fletcher and Joe Leiden, and it's a penalty awarded promptly by referee Tennant against Leiden. And again, an indiscretion that was needless.
Yes, he did. Joe was tackled on the floor then. He got up and made a push at us, and he flipped him back then, but the linesman was acute enough to see it. But it was his fault. He was only retaliating to something that happened before, and it awarded a penalty to Hulkington Rovers.
And Hull KR will thank the touch judge for his intervention. The two touch judges, by the way, Bernard Turgoose and Frank Lofthouse. We've seen a lot of them on scrum down this season. And it's given the opportunity for Jimmy Irvine to come on. And it's given Hull KR the opportunity to take the ball right down there towards that Wigan line once more. It's Bishop. Oh, that's fine tackling, although he managed to release the ball. So Hulkington Rovers still have the possession, but they've been pushed back a long way there. Irvine has his first feel of it. Interesting, then Emma was coming up on the right and they chose to give it to Niebling on the left. Niebling seems to have had a lot more of the ball than Emma in this half.
I think what they've cottoned on to really. Zook Emma was taking the ball in the first half on the burst, and Wigan realised that, and he was causing them problems. They tightened it all up.
That was good, and here's a chance out on the touchline, and here are Rovers. Oh, he's had a funny touch. Anthony Sullivan was going well, and the hand clap there between Goodway and Edwards said it all, because they knew that he was a certain scorer if he'd got past him on the outside. Very quick, isn't he, Anthony Sullivan?
He is very quick, and but the cover defence then was commendable. Both players got back in that position to thwart it.
That's why they're a great defensive side. They cover one another so well. But David, you know, they've only got to concede one more penalty and it will be 6-all, and Rovers will be delighted about that.
I think they realise that as well. Their defence has been good this half. Hull KR have had a lot of ball. They haven't really turned a lot of their superiority into points. Conditions are difficult, but they really now have to push forward. They have to pin Wigan back in their 25 and really see if they can cross that line.
5 tackles gone, but Wigan have got to just about halfway. Thanks to that very spirited run by Dermot. Gary Clark did the right thing in knocking the ball behind him then. It was Lightfoot who came up on it. Clark hasn't had much chance to run. He usually scores a try against Wigan. So, not from that situation. So what a good professional Gary Clark has been here at the two Craven Parks. scorer of over 100 tries for Rovers in league matches alone. This is a Wigan ball, and this could be dangerous. They'll use up their tackles. It's almost the first time I can recall in this half that they've been this far. And again, they can't knock Hanley off it, and he's still going, even in these gruelling conditions. Edwards. 10 minutes to go, and what a 10 minutes they promised to be. 10 Titanic minutes. Dermot along the line, Edwards, and they're moving it right. And this is the danger moment now for Hull Kingston Rovers. They've had so much pressure, and now all of a sudden they're having to defend against the Wigan thrust. So on the last tackle though, yes, it's a penalty awarded. He was tackled and then tried to release the ball after the tackle.
The referee has done a good job, Ray Tennant, this afternoon. It's a difficult game, it's muddy, the ball has been in play an awful lot because there's been not so much kicking as you normally would have. There hasn't been so much free-flowing play, so he has to be on the spot all the time. He certainly has done that this afternoon.
Yes, he wasn't sure whether he'd get through the full 80 minutes. Of course, it's his first match back after having his leg in pot, but he's done a very good job indeed. Armstrong. Andy Blingner, the experienced Australian Test prop, has really worked tirelessly in this match. Irvine. Irvine does get the ball away in this tackle, that was all right. Bishop showing his strength. He will not go down. I think there's a great deal of mutual admiration, you know, amongst rugby league professionals. People like Hanley and Bishop know exactly how good they are.
Yes, you see, great players very rarely have niggles between them. They appreciate the pressures they are both under at all times in the game, and as a result of it, they really applaud each other.
That was Smith's kick, and it's Preston who's taken it. And Fletcher has him. Drives forward once more for Wigan. And they might just be thinking, well, we've weathered the storm. It's not over yet. Look how Hanley gets that ball out in the tackle. He had no right to do, really. This is the last one. And Lydon pumps it straight upfield. Comes over to pick it up. And now he sets off. A bit of a roar goes up when he gets into his stride. Don't be fooled by the scoreline. We may have only had 10 points in the match, but it's been a rip-roaring cup tie. There it is, 6-4. Are Wigan going to hold on? The Hull Kingston Rovers going to score a famous victory. Sort of cash you'd want to take at this stage. Last one again. Bishop has to kick, and he was put under real pressure there, and Lydon waits this time. I knew he wasn't going to quite make it. So now Marshall. And one man to have registered a try. Betts. 6 minutes to go, 6 points to 4, Wigan in front. And in the possession. On the last tackle though. They just seem to have taken the sting out of Rovers these last few minutes. And it's because Lydon's been able to put these kicks in and apply a bit more pressure and keep Rovers a bit more back away from their own line.
Yes, they've played a good tactical game the second half. They now know how much easier it is to keep Hull KR up there. They've pinched it in on tackles. They've kept Hull KR pinned well. The kicks have only gone down the middle of the field, and straight away we're going to run it straight back up because they know it's totally unnecessary to be on their own 25 all the time. That's when they can afford not to make mistakes.
5 minutes to go. Players coming and going, and I see that Rovers are going to bring one of their men back. And he's looking for anybody to give it to. Would you believe it? We've got through another 5 tackles. There's the last one. Quizzical look from David Bishop. It's a penalty awarded by referee Tennant to Hull Kingston Rovers. It's well inside their own half, so in fact Hull Kingston Rovers are going to bring on both the 2 men who've gone off, Thompson and Pottinger. Not a return. One last desperate throw of the dice by Roger Millwood. Niebling and Emma, the 2 props who have had stormers go off.
Yes, they've got to come back on. Roger realises he's got to put everything into these last few minutes, and to do that he's got to have the best players on the field. And so sensibly, tactfully, he's done just that.
Well, that's brought a smile for Hull Kingston Rovers supporters. David Marshall knocking on there. Right on that touchline as well. But we're inside the last 4 minutes now. The seconds really ticking away quickly. These players will be glad to get back into the dressing room. Here come Rovers, that's just when they didn't need to put the ball down. Curses, they say, over on that bench on the far side.
Yes, it was. It was an unnecessary pass, I felt then. The man, obviously, he should have been watching where the ball was coming from. He wasn't. The pass went out to him. Would have been better to have kept it tight once or twice to set it play back up again, because you have 6 play the balls to do it. There's plenty of time.
And Wigan have the ball with Ellery Hanley. A number of contenders for man of the match, I would imagine. People like Ellery Hanley and David Bishop have both been instrumental. Been great tackling stints on both sides. People like Platt for Wigan. Oh, and Hull Kingston Rovers have got the ball. Can they do anything with it? They've been struggling all afternoon to make positive inroads. They've got so close to the Wigan line, but they've never been able to quite penetrate. He's going to have to straighten up at some stage. This kick over the top from Smith will be chased all the way. And it's gone out. And, just a little bit of needle there. Sean Edwards angry, and the touch judge will come on. And well, I thought he was going to come on and say something to the referee, but not so. It's a Rovers put in. Oh, and it's out for Wigan. What a time to win a scrum.
Well, it was a time to win a scrum. Edwards was already having words with the linesman that he felt it was his ball in the first place, so perhaps justice was done in that occasion.
And there he is again now. That was a bit scrappy. And Wigan just lost their professionalism for a moment then. You do have to admire the way they've defended so stoutly throughout this match.
Well, we've spoken many times about what fine players they have with the ball in their hands, but without the ball in their hands as well, it's been very difficult to score against them. They've defended heroically to a man.
Hull Kingston Rovers have 60 seconds left to pull this cup tie out of the fire. There are always 3 Wigan fellas in for the tackle. Now, can somebody from Hull Kingston Rovers Well, I was going to say, make themselves a hero, and unfortunately it wasn't to be, not there anyway. That's disappointing. Seconds left. So if ever they needed to win one against the head, now would be the time. It's not to be. Out for Wigan. Hanley knows it's just a matter of keeping possession. That's why he didn't pass the ball. He's been around too long for that. He's stayed the course as Ellery Hanley. There was talk a few minutes ago of bringing him off, but he's stayed out there to steer his side home. Just the way it's looking. And Wigan will regard this as a very, very good step to have taken along the road to Wembley if they do go on to make it a hat-trick.
Well, they won't have a tougher game than they've had here this afternoon because it's been end-to-end stuff, despite the fact that conditions have not been the best.
And I think, David, that Kingston Rovers will take great heart from this performance as well, because they've extended the potential league champions and the cup holders all the way.
Absolutely, they played well to a man, they passed well, they tackled well. You can't say that they haven't had the commitment. Niebling and Zukema have really pushed forward all the time and given them a lot of...
And it was Rovers still coming, as the hooter said, that there's no more time. Wigan have gone through to the second round, and it's been a sterling performance really in the face not only of those fans, the hostility from them directed towards the Wigan players as they go off, but it really has been a thoroughly professional performance by the cup holders. Kingston Rovers have given their all, and never will you see a braver losing fight than that. They'll be proud men indeed as they go back to the dressing room, but it's Wigan who go through to round two. And in the end it was just one try that settled it, one mistake in the Rovers' defence, and David Marshall pounced. Six points to 4, then Wigan go through. The one try scored by winger David Marshall, Joe Lydon's goal, and 2 goals from Mike Fletcher, just not enough for Hull Kingston Rovers. Right, man of the match, David Watkins. Well,
the Silk Cut Challenge Cup Man of the Match award this afternoon has gone to David Bishop. An absorbing cup tie, and as if to prove that he is at his best, he showed his form against the best side, Wigan. In difficult conditions, whether running or kicking, David Bishop has come through this afternoon's test, showing that he's a force to be reckoned with in rugby league football.